This is CNN.
Another longtime associate of the Clintons may be leaving the administration.
The president says it's time to consider how the global economy affects ordinary people.
And after 10 deaths, police in North Carolina think they have caught an alleged serial killer. Hello, this is Newsday. I'm Natalie Allen.
And I'm Bobby Batista. Here's what's happening. The Clinton administration is bracing for another high-profile resignation. This time, it is Associate Attorney General Webster Hubbell. Hubbell is a longtime associate of the Clintons and one of Mrs. Clinton's former partners at the Rose Law Firm in Little Rock. Sources say Hubbell could resign as early as today. And they say the resignation is related to questions about his billing practices and personal expenses while working at the Rose firm. 9 days ago, White House counsel Bernard Nussbaum resigned under pressure for his handling of the Whitewater affair.
Meantime, the president says the world's wealthier nations must start thinking more about how their economic policies help or hurt the average worker. The president made his remarks today to officials with a group of 7 industrialized nations who are meeting in Detroit. Mr. Clinton said the world's economic powers need to continue creating new markets while remembering that economic policy is more than just numbers on a page.
It is my hope that this conference will continue the work that we began last year, where these great industrial nations work together to get things done. For years, the G7 nations consulted with each other about the great issues of macroeconomics and global finance. Today, we are beginning a serious conversation about the economic well-being of ordinary people in each of these countries. This is an historic, important, and long overdue moment.
The president is on a 3-day, 4-state trip designed to focus on jobs and economic revitalization. His timing could not be much better. A new CNN USA Today Gallup poll shows unemployment is now the country's top economic worry. 37% of those surveyed say it's the biggest economic concern. The budget deficit ranks second, followed by taxes, inflation, and the trade deficit. 57% said they worry about finding a new job if they were laid off. And that concern is driving many workers to learn new skills. Here's CNN's Ed Garston with more.
Ken Wilson's trying to teach a mini robot to stack little plastic cubes. It's not easy.
Miscalculated a cube here.
Denise Gatson is figuring out how to make a better luggage tag.
It's a little shaky, too. If it was a little wider, maybe.
Neither Denise nor Ken nor the rest of the folks at this UAW Ford Training Center are in the business of making luggage tags or stacking cubes. They're all auto workers, boning up on the latest manufacturing technology.
Changes itself is frightening because, you know, we want to save our jobs.
It adds to our earning power because if we give a more quality product, we get more jobs in our plant. And it holds people's jobs.
Bernard Harris once held a job as a carpenter. He's now training on some of the most modern manufacturing equipment in the world at the Center for Advanced Technology, part of Detroit's Focus Hope.
Computer-assisted machining or flexible machining is what the future of manufacturing engineer is all about, so I'll have an advantage.
Focus Hope's founder says the real key to job security is adaptability.
The main thing about it is not the equipment or the technology, but the complexity and flexibility of the talents of the people that use it.
In fact, says Father Cunningham, technology is advancing much faster than the training it takes to use it. And unless that lag time shrinks, well, the workforce and industry will be the big losers.
All of their learning and skills development becomes obsolete in about 2 years.
So what do you do?
So what we have to do is train them in the process of continuous skill development.
That's what Ford and the Auto Workers Union are doing at their training center.
10 years ago, if you had a strong back and a weak mind, you were successful in the auto plants as a worker. Today, that doesn't count.
If you take a look at, starting from the premise that a more educated workforce will be able to produce better world-class cars and trucks, that makes the company more competitive and in turn secures the jobs for the workforce.
In fact, says one employment agency, there are plenty of jobs out there. There's not enough people who know how to do them. Ed Garston, CNN, Detroit.
Senator Bob Packwood of Oregon agreed today to turn over his diaries to the Senate Ethics Committee. The committee subpoenaed the senator's diaries, tapes, and transcripts last year, but until today, he had been fighting in the courts to keep those items private. The Ethics Committee is investigating a series of allegations against Packwood, among them that he made unwanted sexual advances to female employees and solicited job offers from lobbyists for his wife. Florida Governor Lawton Chiles plans to sue the federal government for the cost of caring for illegal aliens. Chiles says Washington is responsible for unrealistic and unenforceable immigration laws. A new study shows illegal aliens cost Florida's state and local governments $884 million last year. That included medical care, education, prisons, and other service. Florida has nearly 1 million non-U.S. citizens, the nation's third largest immigrant population, behind California and New York. Those two states have filed similar suits against the federal government, which have failed.
Most Cubans who arrive in Florida are quickly released under a special law giving asylum to those who escape the communist island. The trip to freedom took nearly 6 months for 5 Cubans who were rescued Thursday by the Coast Guard. They're now being checked out by immigration officials in Fort Myers. En route to the United States, their boat experienced engine trouble, and they spent 5 months on a Honduran island while working to fix it. A court appearance is scheduled tomorrow in Charlotte, North Carolina for an accused serial killer. 28-year-old Henry Wallace was arrested over the weekend and charged with 10 counts of murder. Police say Wallace told them where to find the body of the 10th victim. Officials say Wallace knew his alleged victims, all of them women, and had worked with some of them at Charlotte fast food restaurants. In early February, police arrested Wallace on a theft charge but released him the same day. The killings over the past 20 months terrorized women in Charlotte.
Very frightening, very frightening. I'm just devastated. You know, when it hits you in your backyard like this, it's just unreal.
It could have been me. It could have been anybody. You know, just like they said, it could have been anybody. I mean, that's a shame. It could have been anybody.
Police describe Wallace as a man who killed and robbed to support his crack cocaine habit. Officials say he may also be responsible for a killing in South Carolina.
Still ahead on Newsday, when winter snows melt, can spring floods be far behind? We'll see what the experts have to say.
Then we'll see what Flip has to say.
Well, no, I don't know about the flooding, but I know a lot of snow's melting today. You don't need me today. I mean, the weather is just great for most of the country. As you look at the map, you see precipitation in the upper Midwest, but just moments ago, I checked all of that green stuff up there, and I couldn't find any snowfall at all. All the reports I was getting was rain, and we weren't getting as many reports as it would appear here. And as you look at the satellite picture, and we'll do that in just about 20 minutes, it looks a lot worse than it is in here. So that's the only weather system we have that's showing anything untoward at all. We expect record high temperatures again in the far west. We'll have all the weather details coming up in just a little bit.
And later on Newsday, if you think communications have gone high-tech, wait until we visit a community filled with psychics and see who they are calling.
Every few months, our investment paperwork seems to catch up with us.
We've had for 7 years.
Between brokerage accounts, all our mutual fund statements, our credit cards, and checking, we're spending more time managing paper and phone numbers than our investments.
These people don't even know we exist.
To simplify the way you manage your investments, there's no better value than the no-fee Ultra Service account from Fidelity Investments. Combining one statement, one-call convenience with savings of up to 76% on stock and option commissions.
I was looking through Frank's copy of mutual fund rankings. All these funds with different numbers to call.
You know about Fidelity Funds Network?
Funds Network?
Well, I can buy all my favorite no-load mutual funds from all these companies with just one phone call.
I could even buy this no-load fund?
Yeah, and there's no transaction fee, and it's on one statement.
That's easy.
With Funds Network, you can buy nearly 200 no-load funds without transaction fees from some of America's leading fund families. So call Fidelity today for your free fact kit and guide to the funds available without any transaction fees through Funds Network. Call 1-800-851-8282.
Had it with air fresheners that seem perfumey and artificial? Then try new Airwick Botanicals. Airwick Botanicals are made with pure botanical extracts, so they're effective and fresh-smelling. Botanicals are one air freshener that really refreshes the air. So wave goodbye to your old air freshener and try new Airwick Botanicals, the refreshing air freshener.
Wheaton Worldwide Moving took Steinway's most prized piano on a year-long tour of the U.S. without a scratch. We can move what's most important to you, too. For our free money-saving brochure, call us at 1-800-248-4810 or see the yellow pages for the Wheaton agent nearest you.
Tonight, the war in Bosnia through the eyes of a child, the little girl who brought Capitol Hill to a standstill with her dramatic war diary. On Larry King Live tonight, 9 Eastern on CNN.
President Clinton has nominated Admiral Mike Borda to be the next Chief of Operations for the Navy. Admiral Frank Kelso is stepping down because of criticism over his handling of the tailhook affair. Borda is currently the commander of NATO forces in Southern Europe. He would become the first Chief of Naval Operations to rise from the enlisted ranks if confirmed by the Senate, and that is expected. There will be sighs of relief in parts of the U.S. as the fierce winter finally makes way for spring. Hallelujah. But forecasters at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration say if the warming comes too fast, it could cause big problems.
We may have what we call the orderly melt occurring through much of this week. That will be a very positive factor. We'll start to pull off some of that snow cover. However, that snow cover, you can think of that as kind of like a savings account. Mother Nature's been saving up all winter. And if Mother Nature makes a withdrawal all at one time, we do have the prescription for very heavy flooding. So the longer we have an orderly melt, the less likely we're going to have that sort of problem coming down the line.
Forecasters say there is a potential of ice jam flooding on some northern rivers, which have had as much as 3 feet of ice, and there is potential of some high water in the Midwest this spring, but they say it is unlikely there will be a repeat of last summer's devastating floods.
A new study finds sophisticated talking toys actually hinder a child's language development. The British study found 1 in 5 preschool children have speech or hearing difficulties. That's up about a third from previous studies. And the report blames toys with built-in battery sounds that entertain children rather than encouraging playing, which develops speech and language skills. An Alabama school board meets tonight, and it could settle the dispute over a high school principal who wants to ban interracial couples from the senior prom. Civil rights leaders want Principal Hewlin Humphreys removed, but some parents and students lined up in a motorcade Saturday to show their support for the principal. About 100 vehicles paraded through the town. The principal told 11th and 12th graders last month that he was considering calling off the prom if interracial couples plan to attend.
In San Francisco, the reopening of a bathhouse is demonstrating just how much some tactics have changed in the battle against AIDS. CNN's Susan Reed has the story.
Gay bathhouses are generally considered breeding grounds for the deadly AIDS virus. In San Francisco, the city shut them down a decade ago. The message, no unsafe sex. It was a huge controversy, personal freedom versus fighting a deadly disease. Now, a decade later, the issue is back.
In a city where half of the gay men are infected with the HIV virus, the reopening of a bathhouse and what that means is more symbolic than substantive, because sex clubs have never disappeared from the scene.
But decadent bathhouse behavior was killing too many people. Today, Steamworks is different. Its policy, no alcohol, drugs, or unsafe sex.
If they continue to disobey the rules, then we ask them to leave.
Rules set by businesses, the city, and health professionals.
I don't think that opening a bathhouse is going to increase the chance of people getting AIDS in San Francisco. People are going to have sex, they are having sex. What it does do is gives us a chance to reach people with HIV prevention messages that we might not otherwise reach.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta recently evaluated Steamworks' Safe Sex program and told county officials it was a model for the nation.
We constantly hit the customers over and over again with the same safer sex message.
Health workers reach men otherwise unreachable.
There are a number of patrons who come here who don't identify as gay, even though they may have sex with other men. Some of them may be married with the wife and 2 kids and the dog, and etc. Others may be young men, 18 to 21.
Young gay men and heterosexuals have the most rapid rate of infection today.
Gives them an opportunity to learn behaviors that can protect themselves in other venues.
Steamworks will only get a permit to open in San Francisco if it proves private rooms will be monitored. Some argue that's impossible.
I mean, I can't think of a greater invasion of privacy than trying to separate people to see if they're having safer sex.
leads me to believe that it really can't be monitored in any appropriate way.
Partner up. Opening a new bathhouse has not become a huge controversy. Maybe a sign of the times that teaching as many people as possible about safe sex is the best way to fight AIDS. Susan Reed, CNN, San Francisco.
News from Medicine is brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb Company, makers of Theragran M, the complete multivitamin for active people.
For those with a passion for life, there's Theragran multivitamins. Theragran has been recommended by doctors for over 30 years. So wherever you are in life, you can fully embrace it. Theragran M, for those with a passion for life.
Come on, I want to show you there's more to cable than what you see. Gather around. This, folks, is why I brought you out here. It's fiber optic cable. It's going to bring you a better picture than you've ever seen before. Interactive TV. You can get more channels on your TV than you could possibly imagine. Isn't that amazing? Yeah! Go off and tell the world what you've learned here today. Yeah, cable. I think I had a pretty good day today. I enlightened a lot of people. Okay, who else?
My daughter said she's too busy to use Old English oil, so
she got the Old English spray. It's the only one with conditioning Old English oil to help protect and shine. Give your wood the royal treatment with Old English.
Honey, we have to do this.
What happened here?
Who can resist the golden, buttery, melt-in-your-mouth taste of a Ritz? It's one of a kind.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Tush, and coming up in our entertainment news update, the Writers Guild of America honors the year's best screenplays. Also, as Oscar fever grips Hollywood, we'll take a look at how certain pre-Oscar awards serve as good indicators of who's most likely to take home the Academy's gold statuette come next Monday night. Those stories when Newsday continues after these messages.
The Kaplan Fund is one of the best 5-year track records in the business, according to the New York Times, with more than twice the average total return of all mutual funds. The Kaplan Fund invests in companies with substantial growth prospects. The fund is managed by Wall Street's dynamic duo, Hans Utsch and Lawrence Oriana. They were awarded Morningstar's highest 5-star rating. Call now for your prospectus, 1-800-824-0600. The Kaufman Fund, 1-800-824-0600. That's 1-800-824-0600.
Just how nutritious is Kellogg's Complete Bran Flakes?
Let's have this today. Oh, no, please. Anything but that one.
Complete Bran Flakes has twice the fiber of that cereal.
Or maybe that one.
I don't think so. Complete Bran Flakes has twice the vitamins and minerals of that. The only one with high fiber plus 14 vitamins and minerals, even beta-carotene.
How about Complete Bran Flakes?
Yes! High fiber plus vitamins and minerals.
Perfect.
Kellogg's Complete Bran Flakes. Yes!
Working nights the way I do really runs me down. I get tired, washed out. I even get iron poor blood. So whenever I want to put a little bite back into my life, I reach for my old friend SSS vitamin tablets. They are full of the essential vitamins and iron a body needs to stay healthy and in the pink. Well, good fly.
Try SSS high-potency vitamin tablets and put some bite back into your life. Also available in tonic form.
Headline News, the only network with world and national news at the top and the bottom of the hour, live and up to date. Headline News, a whole day's news every half hour. Check cable listings for channel number.
Time now for a check on the latest showbiz news. Here's Bill Tush in New York. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bobby, and thank you very much. This weekend, director Steven Spielberg's critically acclaimed film Schindler's List was honored with yet another industry award. Sunday in Beverly Hills, the Writers Guild of America recognized Schindler's List as the year's best adapted screenplay. Jane Campion's The Piano was voted the best original screenplay. In the TV screenwriting categories, the show Homicide won the Best Episodic Drama Award, while a Seinfeld episode entitled The Contest won for Best Episodic Comedy. Walter Matthau, who's no stranger to comedy himself, had this to say about the importance of writers.
Writers, they're the unsung geniuses of this industry. Writers. Nobody knows who the writer is. All they see is an idiot like me or whoever. Who's the idiot that's up today? Writers are the ones that make the whole thing go. Without writers, we have nothing.
The Writers Guild Award, by the way, is just one of the many industry awards that precede next Monday's Oscar telecast. And as Jim Murray reports, these preliminary awards often serve as strong indicators as to who the Academy will honor with the coveted Oscar award.
It officially begins in early January, 3-month period leading up to the Oscars, which could easily be referred to as award season and which propels its winners into the Oscar race.
It's a great honor to be standing in front of the people I occasionally fear.
But rather than being judged by a jury of their peers, winners are chosen by the critics in Los Angeles, Boston, New York, and beyond.
This is a movie that the critics could have easily made or broken. And had this film not been embraced on that level to begin with, it would have not found the kind of audience that it's finding now, almost because of the critical response. So I owe a lot to the critics on this occasion.
Apparently, so do Oscar nominees. Consider this. Virtually all the critics' top choices this year earned an Academy Award nomination.
Thank you very much.
11-year-old Anna Paquin was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in The Piano after receiving her LA Critics Award. The Los Angeles critics chose Leonardo DiCaprio as Best Supporting Actor. The Academy nominations followed for What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Holly Hunter, who received almost universal praise from the critics groups for her work in The Piano, was considered a shoo-in for the nomination she ultimately received.
The media loves to talk about the Academy Awards. Los Angeles likes to start contemplating the award ceremony in November, and they happen, in March?
This is a hyperbolic society we live in, and particularly in Southern California. Nothing is ever simply good. It's the greatest thing in the history of the world.
Tommy Lee Jones was named the best in the world as supporting actor in The Fugitive by both the Los Angeles Film Critics and Golden Globe Awards. Perhaps more than any other Hollywood event, the Golden Globes are often referred to as the dress rehearsal for the Oscars. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which hands out the Golden Globe Awards, has no connection with the Academy and clearly won't determine who takes home the Oscar. Still, the Golden Globe winners will help shape the list of Oscar contenders, since they'll still be fresh in the minds of Academy voters as they cast their ballots for nominations. The Golden Globe winner for virtually every category, from Best Actor and Actress, Best Picture, Best Foreign Language Film, even Best Director, all received Academy Award nominations this year.
Well, the awards, fit into our lives, between December and March, once a year, and they can help certain films. And certain films, are given a boost because of the recognition that certain organizations give those films.
Okay. Well, this will be a big surprise. Schindler's List.
Just 2 weeks before the Oscars, the coveted Directors Guild trophy is presented. 41 of the last 44 DGA award winners have collected the Oscar for Best Director.
This is so heavy. I keep hugging this thing. I'm going to go to bed with it tonight. Also with Katie, my wife.
Perhaps the most memorable event leading up to the Oscars isn't a competition at all. It's the nominees' luncheon, where all the contenders are invited and honored together. Oscar-winning documentary filmmaker Saul Bass believes that's what the Academy Awards are all about.
This is the grand moment when there is no winner, there is no best, because they're all best.
The greatest honor is to be nominated, and especially with a company that I'm able to keep.
Jim Moray, CNN Entertainment News, Hollywood.
On Sunday night, CNN's Susan Rook and Jim Murray will host a special live edition of CNN Presents, and the winner is a program all about the 66th Annual Academy Awards. And for the very latest in entertainment news, as well as a conversation with Magic Johnson about his new talk show, please join us for Showbiz Today at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 Pacific, right here on CNN. Well, that's the latest from New York at this hour. I'm Bill Tush, and now back to Bobby and Natalie in Atlanta.
All right, Bill, thanks. We're placing our bets over here.
Yeah, that's a tough selection this year. That's
Lots
probably,
of good movies.
yeah, it's probably one of the best fields in a long time, I think. But
well, today the weather deserves an Academy Award. Finally, here's Flip with more.
Yeah, for most of the nation. Now, the upper Midwest might argue with us a little bit, but it's not snowing, so I guess that there is some good news here. This looks, watch it come down from Canada. This looks a whole lot worse than it really is. You see all this heavy cloudiness? There's a cold front moving through the area. But the air behind this cold front isn't particularly cold. That may happen later in the week. You can see another front up here that'll come sliding on in behind, and that will bring in some cold air as soon as tomorrow. But this one not bringing a lot of cold air. We are seeing some precipitation in here, but not as much as you would think by looking at this broad area of cloud cover. This weather system that is affecting the east, watch it quickly moving on away, so the east is in real good shape today. Temperatures are mild even in the northeast. In the far west, we're still going to see probably record-setting high temperatures as we did yesterday in San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, not just in California. There were record-setting high temperatures in the northern Rockies too. I believe it was thermal California went up, I think it was 93 yesterday for the hottest place in the nation. Very warm temperatures continue in the far west. We also have a storm down here just south of Texas in Mexico, and we've been watching that because we thought that was going to move on across and head up the east coast. We're now pretty sure that is not going to happen. Again, as we check through here, I'm not finding as many stations reporting rain as you might think, but every station reporting any kind of precipitation in Wisconsin and Iowa and Illinois and Indiana and Michigan, they're all reporting rain. I saw no reports of snow, so if it's snowing where you are, I couldn't find it in my computer. There's the storm moving away from the east. This weather system will continue to drift on to the east through the Great Lakes area. And tonight, of course, as temperature drops, it will turn to snow. Now, here's the front that's going to bring in some of the colder air, not this one. Here's that storm down here. Now, watch as we click through this by tomorrow morning. Look, that doesn't move at all. That stays right there in that same vicinity. It'll continue to spread some showers into Texas. Most of the nation will continue to be nice and sunny tomorrow. The front will start to move through the northeast out of the Great Lakes area, and then the colder air will be coming on in behind it, and we'll see more rain shower activity and perhaps even a thunderstorm or two in Texas by tomorrow evening. But all in all, nice weather for most of the country now will continue. Take a look now at specific forecasts for cities around the nation and Canada for tomorrow. Now with more, Bobby and Natalie.
okay, Flip, thanks. And still to come on Newsday, what may be the best-looking team in this year's Iditarod sled dog race.
And we'll take you to an out-of-the-way town that's a haven for psychics and others who want to know the future.
Newsday continues, followed by International Hour after this local commercial break here on CNN.
What if this man is my destiny and I never meet him?
Your destiny can be your doom.
I want to meet you.
Dad, read this, read this.
There is no way that we are going on a plane to meet some woman who could be a crazy, sick lunatic. Didn't you see Fatal Attraction?
Sleepless in Seattle?
That's what you called him on the show because he can't sleep.
Now playing on pay-per-view. Plus, catch the heartbreak classic that inspired this modern romance and launched 1,000 love affairs. Cary Grant, Deborah Kerr, and Affair to Remember for just $1.95 on pay-per-view.
When I leave town today, this sofa, all this beautiful furniture goes back to Court Furniture Rental. I'd love to own it, but I was only going to be in town for a few months, so my company leased it. Now Court's going to sell it at its clearance center. Somebody's going to get a great deal.
It's true. The Court Clearance Center sells brand-name furniture at fantastic savings.
Visit Court's clearance centers and find reasonable prices on previously leased office and residential furniture. Stop in and see our buys.
This is CNN.
Updating our top story, sources tell CNN Associate Attorney General Webster Hubbell is planning to resign, possibly as early as today. Hubbell is a longtime associate of the Clintons and one of Mrs. Clinton's former partners at the Rhodes Law Firm in Arkansas. Sources say Hubbell's likely resignation is related to questions about his billing practices at the Little Rock law firm. Secretary of State Warren Christopher says despite differences, Russia and the U.S. remain committed to global cooperation. Christopher met with Foreign Minister Andrei Kozyrev today in Russia. The two told reporters they talked about policy in Bosnia and ways to restart the troubled Middle East peace process. But the two reportedly did not discuss recent spy problems. Israeli police searched houses for weapons today in a Jewish enclave in Hebron. Yesterday, Israel banned two Jewish extremist groups linked to anti-Arab violence in the occupied territories. Israel says it's trying to maintain calm in Hebron after the February massacre in a Palestinian mosque. The Palestine Liberation Organization has demanded Israel act against settler vigilantes before it will resume peace talks.
To New York now for the latest business news. Here's Jan Hopkins at the business desk.
Thanks, Bobby. Blue chip stocks are trading near the break-even point today after surging 32 points on Friday. Lower bond prices are keeping a lid on stocks today. Right now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is in positive territory. It's up 2.5 points at 38.65 Big board volume's heavy. 193 million shares have traded. The broader and secondary markets are all higher. Checking the bond market, the Treasury's 30-year bellwether bond is down nearly half a point in price. The yield up to 6.93%. Among stocks in the spotlight today, Cellstar plunging 4. The cellular phone company predicting flat first quarter earnings. Motorola's up 1.25. It and other technology stocks gaining following a U.S.-Japan pact on cellular phones. Federal Express is up 3.25. Its quarterly profits more than tripled. Sodak Gaming falling 4. The company which provides gaming equipment to Indian casinos, predicting lower first quarter earnings. McKesson up 3/8. It says it's won a $1 billion contract to supply pharmaceuticals to Drug Emporium. Some 3,000 General Motors workers have walked off the job in Dayton, Ohio. The local contract dispute involves 2 brake-making plants. At issue, job security and GM's use of non-union labor. Shares of GM are currently trading up 1/8 at $63. While Disney shares are down 3/4 at 46.25. Investors are reacting to a new rescue package for Disney's troubled Euro Disney theme park. The plan, unveiled today in Paris, calls for Euro Disney to offer $1 billion worth of new stock. Walt Disney will buy half, with banks underwriting the rest. Motorola is up 1.25 points. That is business news for this hour. I'm Jan Hopkins in New York.
Are you sure? When Newsday continues, a look at the favorite, if not the favored team in the Iditarod sled dog race.
I wonder what sets them apart. We'll find out.
Good-looking dog.
They may not be fast, but they're pretty.
Great-looking dog.
Well, I just asked Jim. They're down to 4 teams yet? I'm really on top of things.
You are. You've been out of town for a while, haven't you?
5 days. I'm lost.
Well, give us a couple weeks. I mean, we'll get there. Yeah, it doesn't take long. The NCAA tournament field of 64 is set now, and if your favorite team isn't going, don't feel too bad. There are quite a few who were overlooked. That story when sports returns shortly.
Sir John Templeton on the Templeton Mutual Fund.
Shares seem to offer greater potential for the future than other types of assets. And in selecting those shares, you do need professional help.
A leader in international mutual funds.
And one way to get professional help is through mutual funds.
Funds that offer diversity.
In general, you want to buy those things that have the best outlook.
To learn more, call 1-800-342-FUND.
Every investor should have a variety of investments.
The Lincoln Mark 8's revolutionary suspension automatically lowers the car at high speeds for better handling and less wind resistance, which raises the bar for everyone else. The Lincoln Mark 8. Drive everything else first.
Are you tired of that dog food already? Here's something different, sweetie.
Sudden changes in your dog's diet can sometimes lead to stomach discomfort. So feed your dog a consistent diet of one nutritious dog food. Purina Dog Chow every day.
Just how nutritious is Kellogg's Complete Bran Flakes?
Let's have this today.
No, please. Anything but that one.
Complete Bran Flakes has twice the fiber of that cereal.
Or maybe that one.
I don't think so.
Complete Bran Flakes has twice the vitamins and minerals of that. The only one with high fiber plus 14 vitamins and minerals, even beta-carotene.
How about Complete Bran Flakes?
Yes!
High fiber plus vitamins and minerals.
Perfect.
Kellogg's Complete Bran Flakes.
Yes!
Martin Boozer has stretched his lead in the Iditarod sled dog race. Boozer, who won the 1,100-mile race from Anchorage to Nome in 1992, has a comfortable margin over Rick Mackey and Jeff King. But one team that's not among the leaders seems to be drawing much of the attention. Tim Haas tells why.
It's a safe bet that Jamie Nelson's dog team will not win the Iditarod. But if the race gave an award for the best of show, this team would be the easy favorite. This team is made up of registered, purebred Malamutes.
Hi. It came about a couple of years back to see if a purebred Malamute team could do it. The owner, breeder of the whole crew, owns Storm Cloud Kennels from Wisconsin, and she's always wanted to see if they retain any of their working abilities.
You'd like me to do your feet, huh?
So far, except for a few sore feet, Nelson says the experiment is a success.
I mean, they're tough enough. They're going for me. They're leaving checkpoints.
You guys know this?
They're working for me. They're not working fast, but you don't work fast if your feet hurt either.
These dogs are picture perfect, at least to race fans along the trail. They can't seem to get enough of these faces.
That's Joshua, and the other one's Jacob.
Even if they are at the back of the pack.
At a nice slow trot, these guys go forever.
And hopefully to know.
And hopefully to know.
So while you won't see Jamie Nelson's name in the first 20 or even 30 mushers this year, that really doesn't matter. For this team, it isn't speed that counts, it's style.
The winner of the race picks up $50,000 in prize money.
Well, Tanya Harding may soon face another tough question. Is she willing to step into the wrestling ring for $2 million? Jim says he'd do it for $2 million. The offer comes from the chairman of the All Japan Women's Professional Wrestling Association. He says he will talk to Harding during next week's World Figure Skating Championships in Japan. The Japanese businessman even predicts an image change for Harding. She would have to be the bad guy at first, he says, but eventually she could play the heroine in the ring.
You won't have to wear a mask, but you have to give up the crowbar, I think. That's the deal.
Yikes. Okay, we're going to step onto the court now with Mr. Huber and 64 teams. 64
and perhaps the 65th you wonder about. You'll excuse Murray State, won't you, if they don't spend a whole lot of time watching the NCAA tournament in the upcoming weeks. The Racers were 23-5 this season and 15-1 in their own conference and were left out of the field of 64 yesterday in the NCAA tournament. Georgia Tech was only 16-12. They'd beaten the #1 team in the land 3 times during the season. They, too, weren't figured to be among the 64 best, and so they weren't selected. Neither was Brigham Young with 21 wins, Bradley with 21, Xavier of Ohio, Old Dominion with 20 apiece. Usually 20 is the key, but you never know with the selection committee, and so we have the usual grumbling, bitter rhetoric on the Monday after. Coaches upset for their players, for their fans, and of course for their own jobs. Those that are going enter perhaps one of the most wide-open NCAA tournaments in history this past weekend, and the plethora of upsets sure tells us that. And so here are the top 4 seeds in each regional. North Carolina, the ACC champion, gets the #1 spot in the East, one of just 5 ACC teams going, an unusually low number.
Not that we don't appreciate this win, we really do, but, you know, there are things that we want to accomplish in the next couple of weeks, and sure, we hope we'll be here to do it, but, you know, you'll get in trouble if you say you're going to be back.
Purdue gets the top seed in the Southeast Regional thanks to its first Big Ten championship since 1988, and the remarkable Glenn Robinson, who had 49 points yesterday in a final victory over Illinois.
It was a great time to get into a zone, last game of the season at home, and for the Big Ten championship.
So our teammates' ability to get him the ball, naturally, they're pretty smart. You know, the team had a good grade average this year, so they're not dummies, and they know what he can do from practice, and just to make, get the ball in his hands.
Arkansas, the #1 team in the country at the moment in one pool, North Carolina in the other, one of just 4 SEC teams going to the dance, gets the top seed in the Midwest. And Missouri, one of just 4 Big 8 teams headed to the tournament, is the #1 in the West, the first team to go unbeaten in that conference in 23 years in conference play. And they go despite being upset by Nebraska in the semifinals of the Big 8 tournament on Saturday. The regional winners gather for the Final Four weekend, April 2nd, in Charlotte, North Carolina. Some oddities for you. The folks at Alabama Birmingham will become awfully well acquainted with George Washington University. The men's and women's teams both meet each other in the first round of their respective tournaments. College of Charleston is there at the NCAA despite only 3 years in Division I, but Wisconsin is going for the first time since 1947, and St. Louis makes it there for the first time since 1957, and the NIT gets the leftovers. More on all of this, plus today's scores and highlights and news from around our world on CNN Sports Tonight at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, and sports returns to the afternoon schedule here on CNN at 4. Natalie, Bobby?
Thank you, Jim. Coming up, a man who just wanted to get away from things.
Stay with us and we'll find out just how well he succeeded.
We needed some help finding the right mutual fund.
The investment section.
So we tried the library.
Anything in particular?
Yeah, mutual funds.
But there was so much to go through, it only made things worse. We need information, but in a form we can use.
You gotta be kidding.
With so many mutual funds today, it's hard to know where to turn. That's why Fidelity Investments, America's largest mutual fund company, created Fund Match, a program that helps you choose mutual funds to match your needs.
I saw your ad in the paper. Another CD was maturing. Yes, I'm wondering if you could send me some. So we did our homework and called for information on several mutual funds. We're willing to put in time and effort. See if we can figure that thing out.
Who writes this stuff?
Yeah, look at this. But there has to be an easier way.
To help you choose a mix of mutual funds that may be right for you, Fidelity has the free Fund Match Kit. You'll receive a step-by-step worksheet that helps you develop a personal plan, plus an easy-to-use workbook that explains the importance of diversification. So call Fidelity today for your free Fund Match Kit. Call 1-800-643-8585.
Castles and cathedrals, villages and vineyards, elegance and ambiance. It's the Europe you've dreamed of, the vacation you deserve. It's KD River Cruises of Europe. Let us take you along the Rhine, the Seine, the Danube, and Europe's other great waterways. We have more cruises in more countries and more experience than anyone. Come, let us show you Europe like no one else can. Call 1-800-RIVER-KD for a free brochure.
Rookie Nick Van Exel meets Carl Malone. Lakers, Jazz, tonight at 9 Eastern. Then tomorrow, Shaq invades Chicago. Magic, Bulls, tomorrow at 8 Eastern. On TNT.
It's a tug of war waged in the depths of the deep blue sea. Man sets out in search of food, threatening the survival of the world's marine mammals. The picture is grim. In our lifetime, the humpback whale has nearly vanished. In the past 50 years, 90% of them have died. And in the Bering Sea, there are far fewer stellar sea lions than there were before. In less than 2 decades, their numbers have dropped by 70%. The pressures on marine mammals are many. Despite new laws, some dolphins still drown in tuna boat nets. Others wash up dead of pollution. And then there is food. Whale and dolphin, sea lion and seal. They share with us fisheries that are shrinking. For one whale making the endangered species list was the turning point. Today, off the coast of California, the gray whale is returning in record numbers.
Some people, when they retire, devote their lives to golf. Some travel, others just sit back and relax. But every once in a while, you'll find someone doing something out of the ordinary, like living in a dark, clammy hole in the ground. CNN's Greg Lamont explains.
It looks like a ghost town straight out of the Old West. The dirt streets are empty. There isn't even anyone at the local watering hole. But after a more thorough search, the town's only wintertime resident has been located confined in a mine shaft. Voluntarily confined, that is. Meet the man who calls himself Mountain Bob. He's been living in this mine shaft since last November 1st and doesn't plan to come out until this summer.
Well, I'd been toying with this idea for quite a while.
At age 73, he is attempting to break the 210-day record for living underground set in 1987.
What makes you think you can do this?
Do this? Well, I know I can do it. I knew I could do it before I ever started it. Where's the problem? There's no problem here for me.
Maybe not. Mountain Bob spent most of his life working in mines. Now he is living in one.
What do you do for fun?
For fun? Well, I enjoy reading. I enjoy writing. I have some very good friends, and they call quite frequently, and then I contact them and so forth. We compare notes.
Equipped with a telephone, radio, plenty of newspapers, and lots of books, Mountain Bob each day at 12 noon crosses off another day on the calendar. There is a small refrigerator, microwave oven, and a tent where he sleeps. He gets exercise on a stationary bicycle and spends a lot of time writing short stories about the outdoors and, of course, mining. But what about...
I do the same thing you do. No, I have a porta potty.
The mine shaft is located in an Old West theme park called Buckskin Joe, about 2 hours south of Denver.
Mountain Bob, he's kind of a surly old character. He's got a good sense of humor. He's quite intelligent, and we really like him.
The greatest concerns of Mountain Bob's friends are his age and the fact the temperature in the mine is a constant 45 degrees. The ceiling is also a little low.
You see what I mean? That's why I wear this hard hat.
Mountain Bob says he knows he can do it.
I'm my own person. I'm Mountain Bob.
Go for it, Mountain Bob. Greg Lamont, CNN, near Canyon City, Colorado.
Well, many people look for inspiration in the Bible, but rarely culinary inspiration. However, that may become a new trend, sparked by the latest novel by an acclaimed author. The writer claims the old biblical foods are healthier foods. CNN's Sherry Dean has more on this theory.
Paul Theroux's novel, The Mosquito Coast, inspired a movie of the same title starring Harrison Ford. And while the author wouldn't mind if his newest novel, Milroy the Magician, is made into a movie, he hopes it inspires readers to eat healthier, perhaps return to the diet of biblical days.
The Bible is full of food. My book is full of food. My book is about a man who runs a chain of restaurants, and they're health food, but the health food is based on Bible food.
In order to bring the foods of the Bible, which are mentioned in Milroy the Magician, to life, Theroux hosted a luncheon at the Mark Hotel in New York City.
We were thinking of loaves and fishes.
We did a fish wrapped in potato and leek crust with parsley on a succotash of mixed bean.
Prophets knew a lot about fiber. People in the Bible, they live to 150 years, 200 years, 300 years. They live an awful long time. And maybe that's the reason.
And what kind of dessert was inspired by the Bible, a la Milroy?
The Book of Nahum has a lot of figs. Figs,
apricots, dates.
Yeah. Dried fruit was a very important feature of the Middle Eastern diet. So we have those. And this is a purse of dried fruit.
Did you go back to the Bible and take notes on the food before writing this book?
Yes, I took notes on the food that was mentioned. I read about biblical history.
Those who attended the luncheon had varying opinions as to its biblical authenticity. Did you notice at all that the food at this meal resembled the foods of the Bible?
I'd love to think that it did. One would like to think of one's ancestors sitting in a tent there, eating something that might have been produced by Philippe Blue here, but I think it might be a leap of the imagination.
It was authentically biblical. It was delicious, yet cutting edge and up to date, at the same time authentic and old, and I was there.
The Bible I didn't read, I just read Paul's book.
Theroux believes readers of Milroy the Magician will think about their diet. And yes, he hopes they like the story, too. Sherry Dean, CNN, New York.
Next on NewsDay, there's a town off the beaten path of America's superhighways.
And if the spirit leads you to it, you'll find the supernatural is super business.
What does the name Richard mean to you?
He used to be my fiance.
Where is he? In spirit? He's very much around you today?
There's more to communication than airwaves in so-called Psychic City. We'll pay it a visit right after this.
What you are about to see may cause you never to eat meat again. See all the delicious ways you can eat meatless with Morningstar Farms, and you may never eat meat again. Available in your grocer's frozen breakfast section. Morningstar Farms, more ways to enjoy meatless.
I feel good. I knew that I would. I feel good. I knew that I would. So good. So good.
Senecot laxative tablets make you this comfort promise. Senecot's purified natural vegetable laxative works like second nature. Comfortably, overnight, you will feel so good. Senecot good.
In McAllen, Texas, auto theft was reaching epidemic proportions until the city and its people fought auto theft together with a club and reduced auto theft by over 44%. Fort Wayne, Indiana had the same auto theft problem and put the club to work in their neighborhoods too. The result, auto theft was reduced by 44% in just 4 months. In addition, not one car was stolen with the club in use, making it 100% effective in keeping cars theft-free.
Accept no imitations. Make sure the anti-theft device you buy says the club on the handle.
If you ever accidentally injured or killed a domestic pet or animal while driving, you know the feeling of guilt, remorse. The emotional trauma can last for weeks. And now from the makers of the Club anti-theft device comes Animal Lover, a revolutionary new space-age product scientifically designed to alert animals through their natural instincts of dangerous approaching vehicles.
Help protect pets and wildlife from harm. Order Animal Lover at the special introductory price of only $59.95. Call 1-800-258-2321 today.
Finally, the desire to know what's in the future and the allure of possible communication with the dead has long kept mediums, psychics, palm readers, and horoscope writers in business.
In his travels across America, CNN's Larry Woods visited a Florida community where the mediums outnumber the mailmen.
There's an old saying that if you want to do something out of the ordinary, or even on the spur of the moment, and the spirit moves you, then do it. Well, let us take you to a small town in northeast Florida where spiritualism not only exists, it's the town's major industry and claim to fame. They call it Casadega. It's a quiet, historic community, exactly 100 years old, where some 50 licensed mediums have congregated to dispense their intuitive powers, powers that attempt to put people in touch with the past, present, and the future. The curious and the convinced find their way to Casadega year-round, and many pause for religious services on Sunday.
Hello.
On a recent visit, Jamie Tolliver Ruiz underscored some major beliefs of spiritualism.
We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We affirm that all our principles are made possible through meditation and prayer.
Say your name out loud.
To the stranger who may desire something more, spiritual counselors, not fortune tellers, thank you, ply their metaphysical attributes at the services for all to see and later bargain for.
What I'm feeling with you is taller. You're growing taller in this next year because you're feeling more confident, more sure of yourself. You're going to be given some responsibilities around the 2nd of April.
As I go through here, I'm getting the name Richard. What does the name Richard mean to you?
He used to be my fiance.
Where is he? In spirit? He's very much around you today. He wants you to go ahead with a decision that you've been thinking about making that you keep talking yourself out of.
I feel disagreement very, very strong right here.
I just feel like love's keeping you together, but I don't feel like it's strong enough right now to bring the two of you to the middle of the road.
Later, Bill Kaplan and Robin Ward confirmed that there was some dissension in their lives they're trying to resolve.
I'm going through a divorce. I will be getting a divorce. And he is too. So, I don't think we really have a disagreement. I think that we have some things that we have to work through before we can be as one.
Bill, how did you get involved in this? Was it because of Robin, or is it something you sought out on your own?
Early last year, I came to Casadega, took a reading for half an hour, and everything that I was told last January, February has essentially come to pass almost to the month.
With curiosity threatening to devour my psyche and thrust into a briar patch filled with psychics, I, too, set for a reading with a woman called Birdie.
I only present things to you.
Through what she termed as spiritual vibrations I was emanating, Birdie peered into a few corners of my life.
The initial D?
Yes.
Who is this?
The initial D is the initial of my wife and the name of my wife, D.
What does the name Michael mean to you?
My son.
He probably doesn't discuss many personal things with you, but there are many personal changes coming for him in '95.
How do you know when someone is misleading you and not telling you the truth?
I don't. I don't really care what you tell me. I can only tell you what I'm feeling, and that's what I work with, and I go and trust with my first impressions.
Casadega and the grounds, says medium Marilyn Autry Smith, haven't changed much since 1894 when George Colby persuaded fellow New Yorkers to settle here and practice their clairvoyant and religious beliefs. A century-long endeavor, she adds, has been to help people find themselves.
Many are lost in spirit. They don't know why they're here, they don't know what they're doing, they don't know where they're going. And so the purpose is people helping people.
We use the vibration off these bowls for healing, meditation, alleviating stress.
The props and paraphernalia of this psychic way station, even the town itself and all it represents, are not for everyone. But it is for some. After all, the mind often willingly believes what it wishes. Larry Woods, Across America, in Casadega, Florida.
I went there once. Interesting experience.
Well, I predict this show is over in the international hours up next.
Very good, Bobby. Going out on a limb there. That's Newsday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Natalie Allen.
And I'm Bobby Batista. Hillary Bowker's here now with a preview.
Thanks, Bobby. Natalie. Well, coming up on the International Hour, Britain's stalemate with the Irish Republican Army. No more talking while the search for bombs goes on. And a warning to the mafia. Italian police say you can run, but you cannot hide. Stay with us.